Hey guys, what's up? So I'm back with another video today. We are doing an unboxing video. Some of my absolute favorite videos of all times are unboxing videos, and today just happens to be an extra special one. So as we all know, we have that favorite subscription that comes in monthly, and it comes in a beautiful, beautiful blue box. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it is this lovely right here, which is Book of the Month. So Book of the Month is a subscription, for those who don't know, where basically they curate some of the top titles that are coming out for the month. And there is a large team that is actually assembled to find the best new fiction and sometimes nonfiction picks that are coming out from all different genres, including thrillers, contemporary, fantasy, fiction, nonfiction. And basically, it's a chance for you to go to one spot to get these curated selections of books. The other nice thing is that all these books are hardbacks, and they usually come out to about $10 to $15 per book for a new release novel. You can also choose to add on books to your box if you would like to. This is not a sponsored video for me, so this is just something that I absolutely adore and love. I've always been a big fan of Book of the Month, and I personally have been subscribing to them for almost 2 years now. So a large curation of my books do come from Book of the Month. In fact, at this point, I have an entire bookshelf dedicated to Book of the Month, which will be shown in the next bookshelf tour segment, which will be the final part 3 section covering the last two bookshelves 5 and 6. But without further ado, let's jump into this video and unpack this lovely. Now, the one thing I will say is I did go a little ham this month, and I did end up getting 5 of the titles this month. So here we go. As you can see, lots of hauls this month between the 2 Barnes & Noble's trips that I made, along with the Book of the Month selections. I think altogether I've probably amassed about 15 books just this month alone. So I might have to put myself on a ban for a little while just because of the sheer number of books that I've now collected. But I'm very excited. That being said, that does not include the books that I've already pre-ordered. Funny, You Should Ask is coming out by Emily Henry, and I'm really excited for that one. That one I got the British version, so it is shipping in soon from Amazon UK, and I'm really excited about that because I love that cover. I'm also waiting for a lot of new books coming out this year, and some of them are coming out at the end of this year and in May, so I'm pumped about that. There's also some special edition novels that I've also ordered with the painted spines and the beautiful metallic covers, so I'm really excited for those to ship in too, and I will do unboxing for those when they arrive. But without further ado, first and foremost, I have the new Holly Jackson novel. I am currently doing a Good Girl's Guide to Murder read along with me vlog. Unfortunately, that one will have spoilers, so if you haven't read the series yet, please don't watch that video until you have. But I'm super excited to share all of my thoughts on the series. I'm currently working on editing that video and hoping to post it sometime soon. But really, really enjoy that series and love, love, love Holly Jackson's writing. I think she really deals with some interesting topics that I wouldn't necessarily call young adult, but I do think that she does a phenomenal job of presenting these stories and really having your heart pumping while you're reading them. I think in a lot of ways, some of the plot lines were predictable, but some of them also threw me for a loop. I think it's a great, fun read for anyone who's just looking for that fast-paced thriller, high stakes, but in that young adult kind of vibe where heavy topics are touched on, but they're not so heavy where it's like overwhelming. I know some books that I read recently, like the Lisa Jules book, None of This Is True, was just a little too trigger heavy for me. So I know some of the adult thrillers can be a little too dark for me. I think Holly Jackson does a beautiful job of tackling topics without it being too heavy, but also being poignant and getting her point across about certain concepts, and also just really, really fun, crazy things that these high schoolers are going through. So I recently also picked up 5 Survive, which is the other standalone that she had released, and this is the newest one. So this is the reappearance of Rachel Price. So let's read the inside cover together. So here we go. Lights, camera, lies. 18-year-old Belle has lived her whole life in the shadow of her mom's mysterious disappearance. 16 years ago, Rachel Price vanished, and young Belle was the only witness, but she has no memory of it. Rachel is gone, long presumed dead, and Belle wishes everyone would just move on. But the case is dragged up from the past when the Price family agrees to a true crime documentary. Belle can't wait for filming to end, for life to go back to normal. And then the impossible happens. Rachel Price reappears, and life will never be normal again. Rachel has an unbelievable story about what happened to her. Unbelievable because Belle isn't sure if it's real. If Rachel is lying, then where has she been all this time? And could she be dangerous? With the cameras still rolling, Belle must uncover the truth about her mother and find out why Rachel Price really came back from the dead. From world-renowned author Holly Jackson comes a mind-blowing masterpiece about one girl's search for the truth and the terror in finding out who your family really is. So I am really pumped to read this. It does sound like right up my alley. To be quite honest, I don't know if anyone else has read all of the Jennifer Lynn Barnes books, but those are also a young adult author series, and she has 3 different series that I'm aware of that she's written. One is Little White Lies. That's a duology with 2 different books in it. Another series is The Inheritance Games, which I know was like all over Book Talk and all over YouTube last year. Great series for anyone who's interested in just fun, fast-paced, crazy storylines with rich folks and a girl getting thrown into this environment with money being thrown at her. Very well written, very found family, just crazy plot twist. Definitely recommend. And then the last series is the Naturals, and that's actually an older series based on the concept that there are children that are being recruited by the FBI to solve cold cases because they have special skill sets that are unique to them based on their unique ways of living their life. So for example, there's one kid who had a drunk father who would have mood swings. So he's very good at reading and manipulating emotions. There's another girl who had a mom who was basically a psychic in quotation marks. So she's really good at putting herself into the mind of other people and reading other people, since that's a skill set that a fake psychic would need to have, and things like this. And so they basically throw these characters together to solve these cold cases, and it's phenomenal because they're dealing with these very real adult concepts, but at the same time, they're children. So very well written. In that series, the main girl's mom also goes missing, and the series kind of follows the trauma that has caused her daughter and how she has grown from it and how she lives through it. And it's a 4-book series. And I have to say that was one of the best series I have ever read. I absolutely adore the Natural series. It's a 5-star series for me for sure. So this having kind of a similar plot line with the mom resurfacing and not having a clear idea of where she's been this whole time, I just think it's going to be a really fun, fast-paced read. And I will definitely get back to you guys once I get through this. Book number 2 is another fan favorite. So Abby Jimenez has been a very celebrated author that's really been picking up on Book Talk and BookTube. She has 2 other books of hers that I have, which is Yours Truly, and then the other title. Why am I blanking on the other title, guys? I'm so sorry. I'm like totally blanking. Part of Your World. That's what it was. I have to say Part of Your World was absolutely adorable. I ate that book up. It was so cute. Such a lovely romance. And I just think the idea of 2 different backgrounds coming together, like just such well-written chemistry and storyline. And I love all of the things that they go through with their families and everything else. Just beautifully written book. I haven't read Yours Truly yet, but it was actually selected as the book of the year for book of the month. And so the fact that an entire community that's dedicated to books voted her book, Yours Truly, as book of the year really made me excited for this new release that just came out. And this is just for the summer. So I'm very excited to jump into this as well. I think it's going to be very enjoyable and fast and fun and just an enjoyable, happy-go-lucky read. And with the spring-summer season coming up, I think it's perfect for the season. So without further ado, let's read the inside cover together. So this one says, 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. That's all it will take to find their soulmate. When it comes to love, Emma is cursed. Every guy she dates finds his true love after they break up. But it turns out she's not the only one afflicted with this condition. His name is Justin, and his Reddit thread about being love's good luck charm has gone viral. Now, the two have come up with an ingenious plan. If they date each other, their curses will cancel out, and they'll go on to find their soulmate. Only Justin wasn't supposed to be so unbelievably cute and hilarious. But when Emma's toxic mother shows up and Justin has to assume guardianship of his 3 siblings, they're suddenly navigating a lot more than they expected, including catching real feelings. Has fate finally brought the perfect pair together, or will their cure be way more hazardous than the curse itself? So very, very excited to read this. And funny story, I feel like up until I found my husband, I felt the same way that she's describing in this book, of like just going through these situations where I dated these men who were beautiful people inside and out, and they're great people. But it was either like their first relationship, or they were new to dating, or, you know, it was like one of those things where I was the next step on the path, if you will. And so many of them, right after we would break up, within like a year or two, would end up finding their person that they're now married to. And I just think that's so funny. And it's so hilarious how life works out that way. And then my husband had similar experiences in the sense that like he didn't really date too much, and he wasn't really like too thrilled with the whole process that we went through, because we did have an arranged marriage, in the sense that our parents did introduce us, not in the sense that it was like, hey, meet this person, you're going to marry them. We actually had a year and a half where we actually dated and got to know each other before we said okay, but our parents did introduce us. And it was just really funny to me that the cover literally talks about how she was always the one before you find your true love. And I'm like, I can kind of relate to that. And if their story is anything like mine and my husband's story, I can't wait to read this. Like, this is already giving me all the giddy vibes. So definitely very excited to jump into this as well. And then next up, we have contemporary. So this book sounds incredible to me. I'm so excited to read this. This is basically called Husbands, and it's written by Holly Gramazio. I do not know if I said that correctly, so I'm so sorry if I completely butchered that name. But basically, the concept of the novel is this woman is cleaning out her flat, and she ends up finding her husband, quote unquote. The only problem is she's never had a husband before. So let's talk a little bit about this. But basically the concept is she's trying out different husbands and different lives. So kind of Midnight Library vibes is what I got from this. So inside we have, do you take this man? No. What about this one? When Lauren returns home to her flat in London late one night, she's greeted at the door by her husband, Michael. There's only one problem. She's not married. She's never seen this man before in her life, but according to her friends, her much improved decor, and the photos on her phone, they've been together for years. As Lauren tries to puzzle out how she could be married to someone she can't remember meeting, Michael goes to the attic to change a light bulb and abruptly disappears. In his place, a new man emerges, and a new, slightly altered life reforms around her. Realizing that her attic is creating an infinite supply of husbands, Lauren confronts the question, is swapping lives as easy as changing a light bulb? How do you know you've taken the right path? When do you stop trying to do better and start actually living? The thrillingly original debut, The Husbands, brilliantly explores how we navigate life, love, and a choice in a world of never-ending options. Now, Midnight Library is one of my absolute favorite books, and it's kind of a similar concept in that she, quote-unquote, is in this stage of her life where she's dying, and she has to decide what life she wants to keep. So she ends up in this library, the Midnight Library of the in-between lives. And every single time she pulls out a novel, she gets to experience a new life. And it's about her discovering like who she is and what she wants from her life. Now, if this book is anything like that with a little twist of comedy, this is like going to be perfect for me. I'm going to eat this up because Midnight Library, I loved that book. I love books that make you contemplate on these type of subjects, these question marks of what ifs, and does it truly make a difference in terms of what we're doing with our lives and who we want to be and where we're going in our futures. So I am very excited to read this book, and I cannot wait to see all the different husbands she gets to experience and which one she decides is right for her. And when she kind of realizes in that groundhog kind of vibes-ish situation, like how to just live her life. Actually, I take that back. This is not Groundhog Day vibes at all, because she's clearly switching life after life after life with slightly alterations. But I do think it'll be very interesting to see her grow as a character and understand who she is as a person and what she wants from her life. So I'm very excited about this. Also, side note, if anyone is wondering what the henna is about on my hands, my baby brother got engaged this weekend, so I was back home, and it was absolutely wonderful to celebrate him and his future wife-to-be. Absolutely adore them both. So happy for them. And I was so excited that I was able to go celebrate them along with our other brother as well, because my brothers are twins. But it was absolutely amazing to have that family moment. So that is what the henna is all about. Moving on to book numero 4, we have Table for Two by Amor Towles. Now, I've only read 2 books by him. I believe Rules of Civility. I really hope that's by him, because if not, I'm so sorry. And then A Gentleman in Moscow. But I feel like his writing style is just so beautifully done. And I love the historical vibes. Now, this particular novel is actually a collection of short stories, so I'm really excited to see where it takes us. But let me read the inside to you guys again on this one. From the best-selling author of The Lincoln Highway, A Gentleman in Moscow, and Rules of Civility. Okay, so I was correct. A richly detailed and sharply drawn collection of stories, including a novella featuring one of his most beloved characters, is what this novel is. Millions of Amor Towles fans are in for a treat as he shares some of his shorter fiction. 6 stories based in New York and a novella set in Golden Age Hollywood. The New York stories, most of which take place around the year 2000, consider the fateful consequences that can spring from brief encounters and the delicate mechanics of compromise that operate at the heart of modern marriages. In Towles' novel Rules of Civility, the indomitable Evelyn Ross leaves New York City in September 1938 with the intention of returning home to Indiana. But as her train pulls into Chicago, where her parents are waiting, she instead extends her ticket to Los Angeles. Told from 7 points of view, Eve in Hollywood describes how Eve crafts a new future for herself and others in a Norrish tale that takes us through the movie sets, bungalows, and dive bars of Los Angeles. Written with his signature wit, humor, and sophistication, Table for Two is another glittering addition to Towles' canon of stylish and transporting fiction. So I am really excited to read this, because I do remember it saying that it relates to the Rules of Civility novel, which is also why I was mentioning that. So I'm really glad I got that correct. But I absolutely loved that book. I loved the strong female characters. I loved the world that it was set in. I loved that time period of the glitz and the glam of the Hollywood, romantic Hollywood, if you would, like glamorous Hollywood, if you will. Like, it was just so much fun. I would say the closest vibes to that for me was probably The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, like kind of similar to that vibe and that time, that atmosphere. And so I'm really excited to read this book and kind of see where it takes us. And I'm just very excited to jump into these short stories. Last but absolutely not least, we have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I will say that I absolutely love her Shadow and Bone series. All 3 of the books I think were absolutely wonderful. And the duology 6 of Crows was also wonderful. I just think her brain is so phenomenal. And the Grisha world was just such a phenomenal ideology and concept that was created. I think the show was also really fun to watch. Also, I don't really know what I just said with the whole ideology thing. Clearly, English is not working for me today. But which is very sad to say, considering I'm literally creating content about books. So you would think I would be able to speak English since I'm talking about English novels. But that being said, back to the point, she did a phenomenal job with her young adult books. She also wrote 2 novels called The Ninth House and Hellbent, which is a series following a young woman who is in college who can see ghosts, and it kind of surrounds secret society of Yale and all of these secret society organizations and things like that with magic and mayhem. I think it was a very fun read. I really enjoyed reading both of those books. I'm hoping there'll be a 3rd book in that series as well that comes out based on how Hellbent ended. But given the fact that I've loved her young adult as well as some of her more adult fiction, I was really excited when I saw that she has a new book coming out, still in the world of magic. And so this is her latest book called The Familiar. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So we have fate can be changed, curses can be broken. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Lucia Cortado uses scraps of magic to get through her day of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers that the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucia use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as a simple amusement for the nobility takes a perilous turn when Lucia garners the notice of Antonio Perez, the disgraced secretary to Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of his armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Perez will stop at nothing to regain the king's favor. Determined to seize this one chance to better her fortunes, Lucia plunges into the world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the lines between magic, science, and fraud are never certain. But as her notoriety grows, so does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. She will have to use every bit of her wit and will to survive, even if that means enlisting the help of Gullion Santaniel, an embittered, immortal familiar whose own secrets could prove deadly for both of them. So I'm very excited to read this. As you can see, it sounds like it's kind of set in a certain time period around the time of the Spanish Inquisition. So I definitely think it'll be fun to see where this book takes us. I always love a good fantasy novel. I don't think I've ever read a Leigh Bardugo book that I haven't enjoyed. So I am very, very excited to see where this one will take us. And that being said, that brings us to the conclusion of this Book of the Month haul. Last but not least, every book of the month will send you a bookmark. So every book of the month comes with a little bookmark in it, and it has a little saying on the bookmark. So this one says, "Page is just a number." So I love these little quotations and these little quirky statements. I do collect these and I like to play with them in terms of which ones I want to use. I think my favorite one is "I'm a freak between the sheets." Like, that one was just hilarious to me. I absolutely adore that one. And then I think there's another one that says like "ignoring laundry" or something like that, which was also like very appropriate for me. But in general, just love these cute little bookmarks. So if you are interested in kind of seeing what the newest novels are that are coming out every month and also want to subscribe yourself, I would definitely recommend starting with Book of the Month. There are a lot of subscriptions services out there with novels, and I've seen a lot of them. I've done Once Upon a Book Club, I've done Owl Crate, I've done a couple of the other places as well. And I have to say, for me, Book of the Month is the one that stuck. That being said, there's a lot of booktubers and a lot of book talkers out there who do have Book of the Month as a sponsor for their channels, and they do have codes that you can use. The thing I love about Book of the Month is a lot of these codes will get you a $5 subscription coming in. And once you become a fan and favorite of Book of the Month, the other thing to note is that all of these additional books for a brand new hardcover that is just now released is never going to be more than $10.99. I think prices might be increasing soon to $15, but it's still significantly lower than that $30 tag you're going to see if you go into any other store. And I would say the prices are even pretty comparable to like Amazon and things like that. So if you are someone who wants to support this business and support people with like-minded hopes and dreams in regards to, you know, getting books to the reading community that's curated just for us without us having to overwork our brains and find all the cool new books coming out, this is a great way to jump into that. The other nice thing is all of the old books from all of the previous years, as well as new books that are coming out that didn't quite make the monthly cut but are still authors that are celebrated and recognized. They do have other selections available to you. If you choose to skip a month, that is also okay. They actually apply that credit towards your next month. So they're not going to bill you every single month. They will only bill you every time you need a new credit in order to qualify for your next book purchase. And they also have a loyalty program. So once you reach a certain loyalty level, they also allow you to get the Book of the Year book for free. And they usually give you a gift on your birthday as well. And then the other nice thing about them is they have merch that they'll send you once you hit a certain level of loyalty, such as cute little tote bags and buttons and all kinds of fun little goodies. So definitely go check them out if you're not familiar with them. And until next time, I am very excited to dive into these beauties. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.